Let's look at how to use After Effects with Premiere Pro. I'm creating a new project called After Effects Introduction. And I'm going to import my bear clip and add that to the timeline. So working with After Effects, you usually start off in Premiere Pro, and to take this bear clip and send it to After Effects so we can work with it there, we can right click and go to Replace with After Effects Composition. But just before we do that, just notice the clip color here, this blue color. Now go to Replace with After Effects Composition, and After Effects launches. It may take a couple of seconds, and it will prompt you to save an Adobe After Effects project. So I'm just going to give it the same name. And here's our clip in After Effects. Now I can apply various effects, I can work with animation, etc. But for now, I just want to save the project and close the project. So we're back in Premiere Pro now. See how this clip has changed? It's gone to a pink color now. That indicates that it's actually an After Effects composition that we're working with now. And you can see in the project bin, particularly if I change the view to a list view, and I'll just extend the name column here a bit more, we're actually working with an Adobe After Effects composition here, and it's got that pink color. So we're back in Premiere Pro, After Effects is closed, and say we work on some other clips and then we want to go back to After Effects again. So the easiest way is to just right click and go to Edit Original this time, and that will launch After Effects again. So you can move back and forth for individual clips between Premiere Pro by using those two features. The first being Replace with After Effects Composition, and the other Edit Original. Let's look at some features of After Effects now. So I'm going to right click on my clip and go to Edit Original. And After Effects launches in a couple of seconds, and here's my clip. So the first thing is that you've got your preview in the middle here. You can change the zoom to 100% or 50%, etc. And over here we've got our preview controls. So you've got your standard play, and skip to the first frame, skip to the last frame. Over here I've got mute audio, that can be handy as well. You can set whether you want to loop your previews. And over here we've got RAM preview. That's a special type of preview. It's I guess a higher fidelity preview than just the normal play. Play is a very rough preview of what your rendered clip will look like. RAM is much more closer to what the actual output would be, but still not as high quality as your rendered output. We've got our timeline down here, like Premiere Pro and also Flash. And over here we've got our layers, and this particular layer just has our bear clip. Over here we've got the assets we're working with. This is like our project bin, and we also have effect controls here and your tools up the top. So let's do some basic animation just to realize the power of After Effects. Actually, one more thing is the transparency grid. Now there's actually no transparency on this clip, so that doesn't do anything, but when we're working with green screening we'll be using that transparency grid quite a bit. Starting with some basic effects with this bear clip. By default this arrow will be facing sideways. You can click on it and it gives you these options here, and you click on these arrows again. We won't be changing that. Transform, we'll be changing a few of those things, won't be changing any of the audio. So transform, this allows us to change many things, as you can see here. Anchor point is this point here, right in the middle of the clip by default. Position, so we can adjust our position. We can adjust our scale, or zooming in and zooming out. And we can adjust our rotation as well. And opacity, which is transparency. So we can do all these things in Premiere Pro, but After Effects gives you many more options, and it is actually a lot easier to do keyframe animation in After Effects, which is why we use it primarily for our special effects. To add a keyframe to our timeline, say we want to change position, we just click on this little stopwatch, and that by clicking on the stopwatch it also adds a keyframe. Maybe hard to see here, but there's a keyframe right there. So let's shuffle our playhead along, and we might adjust this position, just doing something at random. There's really no point to it, but just to demonstrate the functionality. Click on this one again, like in Premiere Pro, adding another keyframe, and we can adjust the position now by just moving the clip around. And you can see this line is showing you how the clip is being moved. And let's shuffle a bit longer, and let's just move it back to the starting point. So fairly pointless with this clip, but demonstrating that you can move your clip around. Let's go back to our first keyframe. I'm using these keyframe controls, and we can also keyframe the scale. So that's zooming in and out, and we'll just do the same. We'll go to the next keyframe, and that was for position. We're adding another keyframe for scale, and we can make it smaller or larger to our heart's content. Okay, we'll zoom in, and then we'll go to the next keyframe, add a keyframe for scale, and we'll zoom back out. So fairly pointless animation right now. Might just want to type in the number. And rotation, we can do that as well. We'll start back at the beginning. And rotation, click the stopwatch, add a key. Well, clicking stopwatch adds a keyframe. And we'll go to the next keyframe of scale, and another keyframe for rotation. And we can start rotating it as well. And we'll go a bit more. Again, final keyframe, and add another keyframe for rotation, and we'll just flip it back. And opacity, we won't bother with opacity. I think you get the idea now that it's quite simple to do an animation, very basic animation in After Effects. So we're changing those three properties and opacity as well. Now these effects also are keyframeable, and we'll see that later